There seems to be absolutely hundreds of Kairosoft style games which all seem to revolve around management of some kind. And I thought, having played one, I'd probably played them all. And I've had that confirmed to me now that I've played Prix Story. It's my second Kairosoft game, and although it changes the aesthetic of what you're managing, the same gameplay revolves throughout. If you're coming to this game like I am, as a racing game enthusiast, you won't be racing anything here. This is purely around management of stats in menus. You initially start off as a one-car team with a couple of mechanics in a garage, and you'll take part in some races in the local area from where you are based. Each driver has 6 different attributes that can be levelled up through a variety of training programs, and training costs energy for your driver, but it also costs cash. You want your driver to be in the freshest, fittest way possible for each race that they come across, otherwise they get knackered. The mechanics that you have another separate collection of traits as well, and this revolves around how adapt they are to technology and designing new things. You see, each car that you develop has a variety of stats itself, and these are boosted based on what your mechanics' tech abilities are. And so if you have low-level mechanics trying to build a very complicated car, the stats don't really increase and it becomes an absolute hodgepodge. It won't race very fast, and it doesn't matter what your driver can do, it can't wrestle that car around the track. However, if you invest in your mechanics and are able to upgrade them and hire ones that have stats that have a higher ceiling than others, then you'll be able to spend that time building cars and building them out so that they improve gradually over time. Each car is ranked between S rank to E rank, and they'll have base stats which can then be boosted by adding on additional parts. And these parts can be added to your car by completing either races and winning them, or winning championships, or by attracting sponsors. You can have 2 sponsors running at one time, and they have a certain kind of sponsor viewership that you need to fulfill in order for that sponsorship contract to be completed. When you finish that and you get paid out sponsorship every 6 months in the game, you'll then have the sponsor's CEO call you up and say, "Well done, we've seen a massive boost to our business, here's a part, or here's a new car chassis for you to unvolve, or a new training regime for your drivers." Whatever it is that they unlock, they are then done, and it's kind of not useful for you to stay with that sponsor anymore. You then cancel their contract, get introduced to a new sponsor who will then go through the same rigmarole again for you to then unlock bigger, better parts. All of this is interrupted by racing, which does occur when you aren't spending all your time in stat screens, but it's played on autopilot. Your drivers, whether you've got a 1 or a 2 car team, you get 2 cars once you complete the national championships, drive into a qualifying race which doesn't seem to bear any resemblance to actually how real racing then happens afterwards, I must say. And then your race will either take 1 or 2 laps around the specific circuit, and you'll watch it unfold. The only time that you ever get involved in any of the racing is if your driver has an aura. These can be different colours, and you can press a button on the controller to set off like an aura boost. But I have to say, unless you're playing in the final Cairo Land race, and even then I don't recommend it, it's better to save your auras, because these are boosts for whatever it is that you're playing with at the time. So in order to win and go very well in this game, what you'll want to do is use those aura boosts to boost upgrades to your driver and their stats, or upgrades to the actual cars, either be the cars themselves or the parts that you're adding onto the car through some of the parts slots. Because these stats are permanent, and so if you just save all of your auras and boost those upgrades at that specific time, the game becomes very simplistic, very easy, and a bit of a cakewalk to get to the end of. And I had really exhausted my time on Prix Story long before it got to the end of the game. I'm still sitting with 1 trophy outstanding for getting 25 parts. I will slowly chip away at it as I'm watching a show maybe on TV, but I was bored because I wasn't feeling very involved in the game itself. It does have some good personality though. I particularly like the fact that all of the mechanics and driver names are dodgy sends-ups of real-world characters. But apart from that, this feels very cookie-cutter, very Kairosoft, and I still stand by my argument that I had after playing the very first ones of Kairosoft games that I played. It feels like if you played one of them, you've played them all, and this guarantees it for me. It's the same theming with the same type of ideas as it did with the ramen shop game that I'd played, and whenever I look into all of these different games, they all look and feel the same. So I don't know how Kairosoft have managed to get away with it for so long. Really needs some innovation and some diversification, in their gameplay mechanics. So yeah, Grand Prix Story, okay, feels like a mobile game that's made its way onto console by accident. There's nothing inherently wrong with that, it's just rinse, repeat, grind. And the grind outweighs any of the benefits of continuous replayability because you're doing the same couple of things over and over and over again, becoming less and less involved as you build up cars that can just do everything for you. Written review will be over on highplanegames.com very shortly, and I'll be back to full normal reviews very soon once I've fully recovered from COVID. Cheers.
Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane-network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.